Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Episode 20.
We got new audio equipment.
We got new audio equipment.
Hopefully it sounds a lot better.
We got promo images. That's it.
Yeah.
We got 2 new stuff.
Shout out to Susan Kim. We recently met up with her a little, was it like a week ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And
6 days ago.
Something like that. And she took some badass photos of us for some promo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One of those photos we will be putting up as our
new
logo profile picture for YouTube and Podbean and all the other platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
We recently picked one of them for the new Instagram where it's like Cory and I struggling to pull the sign from each other. It looks really good.
So we're happy about that. We're getting up there.
We are getting up there.
We're rising up. One quick mention. I know I did this last episode too, but we got a message from Y_Columbus, and it isn't _ spelled out, just so you know. Haha, remember, call back to... and they said, dude, watching how you guys keep rising is fucking sick. Keep that shit up, my dudes. It's like the best message you could possibly get.
It's pretty good.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Why?
Yeah. We will have a message from the green room here in a bit.
Yes.
But I think we should go ahead and introduce... It's not a guest. It's a guest, but it's not we're not doing
pseudo guest.
We're not doing an official interview. We just brought in our good buddy Jacob to come in and shoot the shit with us. Jacob Mouse.
It's kind of like how Aaron did a few episodes ago.
Yeah, like
where he just kind of chilled out with us.
We're just kind of here to shoot the shit. You know?
Pseudo member of Gab Street.
Yes.
Yes.
Take him up from the alleyway.
A friend of the show.
Yes.
Jake is the friendly homeless man that plays guitar in the alleyway on Gab Street.
That's what I'm known as. Try to fulfill that role as much as I can.
Well, he was the homeless man in Muscle Milk Mine.
Yeah,
you were he was Dr. Pompadopoulos.
Yeah. Dr. Popolopoulos. Jake has just been the center of like most of the short films that we've done.
Yeah,
just because he's just always available. He's got that like he can play pretty much any role that you put him into.
Way this dude,
I'm talking like you're not like we're talking about you like you're not even here. But
yeah,
let's just do that for the rest of the episode. It's like so this guy Jake. But this guy, the way he moves on camera is like the funniest shit I've ever seen. I don't understand why it's funny, but when you deliberately like make movements, it always like makes me laugh so hard. So
it's something to do with the shoulders, the legs. I don't even understand it. It just kind of happens, but
the man knows how to move his body.
He does. Yes,
very well.
Member of Jazzercise helps that.
Yes, that's how, so it's funny. Helps. Like I've known you since like 6th grade. I think we met through like gym class or something.
Gym class. We were walking on the track because we didn't want to play the sports because we were trying to opt out of that.
We weren't the real athletic kids.
And we got into a conversation about video games, and you were talking about the video game collapse of the 80s or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
How you wish
that sounds like something I would talk about.
You wish that you were born in the late the 80s or whatever, so you could have played the Sega, the NES, whatever, and been on Team Nintendo, Team Sega, whatever.
That sounds like a conversation I would have with people that I would just like bring up. But yeah, I later like found out that like your mom takes my mom's jazz classes, and
that's how we kind of that was like the elephant in the room in a way. But yeah.
Yeah, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah,
cool.
We describe the era before Gage, the pre-Gage era.
Yeah, because like you and I were like we like knew each other and were kind of friends, but I didn't really join your guys' like friend group until Cory approached me to be on to do stuff for Outage Couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, let's like, and then we're all like hanging out and playing video games together, and like this is cool, and we're doing a bunch of stuff, and. So that, there's like the pre-Gage era, which is like the friend group before I came along. There's what is the
Gage era?
Is it just Gage era?
Is it just the Gage era?
Just the Gage era. It's like the junior year era.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then there's what Cory likes to call the Livingston era. Which is just like us going off to college because the whole joke is because I'll be living like just north of Livingston.
I mean, I'll be living just south of it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Isn't like just south of it kind of like considered rough area?
Not where I'm gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah, in certain areas of it,
Gotcha.
east, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it was also a joke because when I was looking at apartments to move into, one of them was like a really cheap one over on Livingston Avenue. But then I looked at like where it was on Livingston Avenue, and I was
rent's $200 a month.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, but the crime rate is like through the roof.
Yeah. Was it
the crime rate is $400 a month?
Where it had bars over the windows or something?
There was one next to it that I think had bars over the windows, but it wasn't that one in particular, I think.
That's nice.
I like that I can hear the birds chirp. You got your window open?
Actually, I don't.
Really?
My window just is not soundproof.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's cool.
It adds a little bit of an ambiance.
We might hear my cat meowing
natural
later.
ambiance to the show.
Yes.
Trying to get some clout for being on Gab Street chirping. Maybe they could.
Fucking birds.
there.
Freeloaders, get out of here.
Fucking freeloader birds.
So let's get some stories out there.
Yeah, so...
do you mind if I start with a quick one?
Go for it.
Okay. Last night, I did possibly the coolest shit I've ever done in my entire life.
Did you stick yourself in a freezer?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Because it was cool.
Nice.
I'm a cold motherfucker.
Dad
no,
jokes.
Last night I went to Columbus Idea Foundry, which is over in Franklinton, just west of downtown.
Yeast of downtown?
East of downtown. No, it's west of downtown as far as my internal compass is telling me. And twist. And I got to, so the class was called Cherrywood Side Table or End Table, something like that. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so we went there, and it was a class, like it was me, my dad, and one other guy. Like it was just a 3-person class, which I thought it was going to be bigger than that. So it was a lot of very hands-on attention. Shout out Idea Foundry. You guys are awesome in every single way. Like the small exposure that for like 4 hours I got last night, but everything went very smoothly there, and you guys treated us very well. So hopefully have somebody from your place on the podcast at some point, because that'd be really cool. But I got to use, so first we cut some metal. It was like hollow metal tubes that were, I mean, they were square, but they were hollow on the inside. We used like metal cutters with toothed blades and stuff, and got to learn how to use those, which I hadn't done since middle school, which it was like band saws and wood, and it was a little less complicated. So I now know how to use a giant metal saw. And then after that, we went to this other room that had like UV ray screens that protected each other, and I used an angle grinder for the first time ever, which is a spinny wheel with the sandpaper on it.
Oh yeah.
And I shot sparks everywhere, and it was super cool. And then I welded the pieces together, which is horrifying because I've never done welding before. I now understand how welding works. I didn't know what it was before. But
It's basically melting metal.
Yeah, it's a wire that feeds through, and it's like electricity pops and melts the wire into an adhesive, basically.
Was it welding or soldering?
It was welding.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had like
very similar. Okay,
the
so you
big
had-
mask on, and it had a visor that detected UV light and auto darkened.
Yeah.
And so I'd zzz, and then it'd go boop, and then it would be dark, and all I could see was the UV like dot. And then after I stopped, it'd go boop, and then I could see everything again. It was super cool.
Yep.
So I welded a table together, and now we still have to put the wood on it, which is going to be easy. But that was super fun. I had a good time there. Never done welding before. So
Yeah, I've heard that welding is a very niche job, especially underwater welding, because there's only like 50 of them in the United States.
yeah.
So I've heard that's a good path to go through.
You
Yeah.
can make a lot of money
Definitely.
doing
Yeah.
welding.
Erica said that she talked to a guy at Sea State who was going into deep sea welding, and apparently his dad did it, his grandfather did it, his grandfather's dad did it. Like, he's in a line of deep sea welders.
It's in his genes now, pretty much.
That's horrifying, dude. The kid, oh my god.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that while also being in another dangerous situation.
That's why you make a lot of money.
That's why
Yeah.
they make tons of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You got a story?
I got a story. So I recently started a new job, kind of.
In the same place, right?
And same company, different like department doing something kind of completely different. So there was a guy that came in, and it's like a tech support job. And a guy came in, and he was having issues, he was trying to play movies onto his laptop, but for some reason when he put it in, it worked on one laptop, but it wasn't working on another. He was like trying to access it through Windows Media Player. Wasn't working, but he had VLC Media Player downloaded, so I just showed him. He had that downloaded because he used it before. He's like, if you just open it up that and then hit Media, select, you can use it all through VLC instead, and it works the same way. It's like, okay. And he was going on about how you can't rip movies. Like, you can't download... Like, you know how on CDs, if you put them into a computer, it'll automatically just rip it so that you can, like, download the music straight from the CD?
Yeah.
He was, like, saying how he couldn't get that to work with the movies. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, that's because, you know, they have security features built in so that way people aren't just ripping their movies, reburning it, and reselling it.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, but, you know, when you do it with X-rated content, that stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
This guy is, like, probably pushing 80.
Here you go. That's metal.
Yeah, and he was like, so I was like working with one of his computers because he was having me try to figure out, because he was having an issue where he couldn't get music to rip straight from the CD to the computer. At least he couldn't get it to work where it wouldn't say like unknown artist and all that stuff. Using VLC Media Player again, I showed him that he's like, see, it is popping up now, but through that you have to go through the tedious process of like, you know, saving each individual file and naming each one the name of the song. It's not as simple as just being able to, like, you know, Windows Media Player recognizing the artist and the song tracks and just ripping it straight to a folder in your music
Was he
folder.
trying to do a bunch of CDs, or was it just one?
He had done it with a bunch of CDs, but he had a handful of ones that were just showing up as unknown.
Okay. Yeah, when that happens, I typically just fill everything in.
Yeah, but he didn't want to do that. He was wanting to just automatically rip it for him, but
I see.
Yeah.
he didn't want to go through that tedious process.
Lazy bones.
Yeah, so I was going through and I was like started the process for him and show him how it would work before he decided he just didn't want to do that. And he was like, "Be careful with all those folders. I've got some X-rated stuff on here."
And this guy's 80.
This guy is like pushing 80. And here's the thing: it would have been, had I like stumbled across any of that content, he could be arrested for distributing pornography to a minor.
Yeah.
That's
So
dangerous.
That was my first day. So that was my first day experience.
So how was your experience on the Jared from Subway case? Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, on that note,
I mean, he was a
Yeah.
really nice guy. He like
Jared was? Wow.
No, this guy was. It was just kind of like he was explaining this process of pornography that he was going through whenever, and I was just kind of like smiling and nodding, and I was like, okay, why are you telling me this? I really don't need to be hearing this. I'm 17 years old. I'm just here to make your shit work.
Kind of like how Prof asked me what the best strip clubs in town were when
Yeah.
I was 17. You said, speaking of Subway.
Well, speaking of Subway, I have a work story that's, I mean, kind of similar to that, but no, not really. Like, there are some elements. So I worked at a Subway when I was about 16 to 17 on a Subway. I won't give the specific location, but it was here in Columbus. And I was working with my man Saquon one day. We hit it off well, just hanging out. Making subs for people. We were doing everything correct, wrapping stuff well, putting on the meats.
It's a good day.
It was a good day.
Yeah.
And
It's a good day at the Subway.
and all of a sudden my other coworker comes in, Dana Lynn or Danae Lynn. Yeah, she's from St. Clairsville. You can look that up on Google Map. I don't have to explain it. And they look at each other, and it's that look where, you know, like, oh shit, there's some tension here, like some good tension. And they start giggling and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, but it's all right. And she looks at him and winks at Saquon, and he goes back into the room where we prepare stuff, and he kind of just leaves me preparing sandwiches for about like 3 or 4 people, so it's not that bad. And I get through all the subs, and I look back and I see Dina Lynn walk into the men's restroom. and I'm assuming that both of them are in there, and someone else comes in, and so after that one person, like 2 or 3 more people come in, so I'm making sandwiches for 2 or 3 people just by myself, just kind of struggling a bit, and I'm pretty much out there doing my job. Well, my coworkers are, they're slapping in the men's restroom, and I'm kind of like, this is my life. Like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm out here laboring, just making subs when they're in there just,
getting it
While
on.
they were
on.
seizing the means of production.
Yeah.
That's what they call it there.
Really, they were. Like, and they came out 15 minutes later. She walks out.
15 minutes.
And unbeknownst to her, birth control does not work at Subways. Like, that's just how it is. I don't know why. There's something about Subways that it's a breeding ground for fertility, and she had a baby. So,
Are you serious?
Yeah, she had a baby,
Oh my God.
and they're married now. So good for them. If your guys are hearing this, that was a positive story. Don't think that as a negative. I hope you guys.
Never mind. It's like, as long as I was gonna say, it's kind of like they fucked in a place where people eat.
Yeah.
At the same time, like, at least it was in a bathroom and not in like the back room.
Yeah.
What, you don't eat in the bathroom?
I don't eat in the bathroom.
Oh.
Like, there are some modesty, but not really.
The bathroom is for looking at memes.
Yeah.
And
Fair enough.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
quality meme time.
Do you ever shit?
Do I ever shit?
Do you shit?
That's not the main reason I go in there.
Fair enough.
It's a secondary
It's like I
reason.
go down and I look at, just so I can look at memes in peace, and then if I have to shit, I have to shit.
You know, Kim Jong-un doesn't shit. He just looks at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looks at memes.
He has an addiction to cheese, so
Kim
that's
Jong-un.
probably why he can't shit. Like,
Yeah.
you can look up images where he's like standing over like a cheese maker, and
Kim
that's,
Jong-un.
yes, he
You know,
loves cheese.
Have you seen the photoshopped image of him doing the blood symbol?
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's so funny.
What's
Oh
the?
my
I know
God.
this is blood. What is Crip? It's like.
Oh, I don't even know.
It's like.
I wouldn't do that on a video podcast, though. No, it's dangerous. No.
I mean, you got
It's like you tuck
blood
your
right there.
fingers.
You got your drip.
Nothing gory means no glory. George Watsky. I'm repping all the Watsky
Yeah.
merch today. I got the
Yes.
T-shirt. I got the sunglasses. I got the Cage the Elephant hat on. I only listen to white music.
Well,
That is not true.
we're gonna have to have a conversation
Yeah.
then. Yeah. I've been choosing the artist to feature on the
Yeah.
episodes, clearly. But I thought I would have a similar story to that. And then it got a lot crazier. So, but what your story did.
Yeah.
He thought you were just gonna have a wholesome story about making sandwiches.
Yeah. And well, I mean, people going back in the freezer. I used to work at insert small pizza shop here. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it on the
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
before, Cousin Vinny's. And frequently, like let's say on a Monday when we're dead, they'll leave me up at the front. I mean, there's no work to do,
Yeah.
but they'll leave me up to watch the front, and everybody else, like 3 other people, will go back in the freezer and smoke weed. You know?
Nice.
So that was my typical experience. And then my manager got pregnant. No, I'm just kidding. Weed, not even once. It gives you babies, but
I love those. Those not even once. Like,
Yeah.
don't smoke weed ad. They're parodies, but they're like, oh my god, I
Yeah.
love them.
this
They're
was
so good.
Jason. He was class president. Look at him now. It's just a picture of like a potato or something.
Yeah, it's like there's the one where it's the guy walks in on his roommate smoking weed, and he just like shoots him, and he's like another drug using criminal off the streets.
Drug memes.
Wow. Yeah.
I love it.
John
Yeah, I
Tron's
love it.
drug PSA video will forever be one of my favorite videos on the internet.
It's a good
pretty
one.
good. Like
Yeah.
the Michael Jordan one. Where he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Michael Jordan. Hi, Michael Jordan. Like, why did it have to be McDonald's to give you this time? You're just in a suit in a black background.
Get some help. Or stop it.
Yeah.
Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help. If you keep doing drugs, then Mr. T's gonna come up and shake all that loose change out of your pocket. How are you gonna buy a 6-piece chicken McNugget then?
You can't.
I mean, those are crack themselves. Those nuggets, McNuggets.
Yeah.
So
McDonald's has the best nugs of all nugs. At me.
I think we should legalize all drugs and illegalize the honey barbecue Fritos. Like the twist ones.
Yeah.
Wait, like unlegalize?
No, we should make those illegal.
Why?
Because they're more dangerous than drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like a 3-pound bag and I'll finish that shit.
I don't think that's nearly as dangerous as like black tar heroin, but
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Would
Have
you
done it? Dude,
snort?
it's such...
Columbus doesn't have a heroin problem.
Not at all.
There's like, have you seen those Denial, Ohio ads?
Yeah.
Those are like pretty clever.
Yeah?
Don't live in Denial, Ohio. Like,
Don't.
Yeah.
I feel like that is actually a town in Ohio. I feel like
it's
that's not...
Ohio.
It's funny you mentioned
Yeah.
that because I listened to like, I think I was listening to some show where like there were people or like someone's kid or daughter saw the ad and was like thinking that Denial, Ohio is a real place. It's like, no, it's a play on words, but it's like, it's really clever,
Yeah.
but
Nice.
yeah.
All right. All right.
An episode of the Gab Street Podcast would not be without a message from our sponsor, The Green Room. You've probably heard me mention Green Room before if you've listened to the podcast before. It's a shop that's going to be opening up at the end of 2019. We'll feature products from t-shirts to tobacco products, similar to a Spencer's or a Waterbeds and stuff if you've ever been to one of those stores. Make sure to tune into more episodes to hear when you can shop at one of these stores and when they'll be open. Thank you again to Green Room for sponsoring the Gab Street Podcast.
What are we at time-wise?
20
21.
minutes. Yeah,
Cool.
we got plenty of time.
Cool. You guys got any more stories?
So, let's talk about feet for a second.
Uh,
So I recently had my little sister was just recently born. I'm a dad now. No, it's funny because like I went into work one day and my buddy was like, because I told him that my mom was giving birth to a child, and I walk in and he was just like, how's it like being a father? And I was like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
And no, but my mom and my stepdad had a beautiful baby child. And we were going to do family photos with the baby and everything. And I had to get my mom wanted me to get new shoes. I hate the shoe shopping process because I have very wonky ass feet to where they're short, but they're really wide.
Never heard of ass feed before.
Ha 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 ha.
Ass
Get
feet.
the fuck out of here.
Sounds pretty shitty, huh?
But like I have really wide feet, but they're like kind of short. So finding like the right shoe for me is weird. I typically just go for Vans because even though I know they're going to blister the fuck out of my heel for like the first like 2 weeks that I wear them,
Yeah.
I know that eventually I'll break them in and they'll be fine. I'm wearing Converse right now because these are the new shoes I had to get. Because they didn't have... My mom wanted me to get gray shoes. And the only pair of, like, gray... I went to Famous Footwear over on, like, Olentangy, over where, you know, like, AMC is in the Target. And I always go there to get shoes. And I went there and they had a pair of, like... gray Vans with like a brown accent kind of thing. It was the only pair of gray Vans that they had, but they didn't have them in a 10.5, which is what I wear in Vans. And so I was like, okay, I'll look at something else. I was like, I found these Converse, and Converse are always really weird for me. If I get like the traditional canvas, I can't do it because they're way too tight on my foot. And these are kind of tight on me, but like these style, I'm gonna like. Sorry. Yeah, but the style right here where it's like a little like thicker.
Like the thick, yeah.
These fit a lot better than like the traditional really like...
You repping the Hastings
I am,
shorts right
yeah.
now?
But these just fit better than regular Converse do, but I have to wear these in a 9 compared to where I'm a 10.5 in Vans because for some... I don't know why it is, but like when I had a 10.5 on, like the width was fine, but the toe was like a solid like 1.5 away from my actual toe. So it's weird, but like I hate the breaking in process of shoes. I think it's the worst, which is why I'll go like a whole like year or two without like, unless the shoe is completely falling apart, I won't get new shoes. I mean, even if it is falling apart, I'll typically just super glue it because I have another pair of Converse that fit well, but the soles are starting to come out, and I just like every once in a while I'll just try to like glue them back into the inside, mainly just because I'm cheap as fuck and like these shoes were $60. And here's the thing, when we went to go for the photo shoot, as soon as we walk in, she's like, you guys mind taking your shoes off? So I paid like $60 for shoes that I'm gonna wear them because I paid $60 for them, but
That's
it had
ridiculous. Wait, so
I
your
know
mom
that-
told you to get new shoes and then she
yeah,
made
because
you pay for them?
she didn't know that. Well, she's gonna like give me a little bit of money because she feels bad that I bought them pretty much for nothing.
Jeez.
I mean, they're nice, and I'll wear them, and I kind of did need new shoes because my other ones were falling apart. But I don't know. I'm cheap that way when it comes to shoes. Like unless it's like I can't fix them, then if it ain't completely broke, then just repair it.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I've always wondered about buying shoes from thrift stores.
Yeah.
Because, from my knowledge, like, your foot molds the shoe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you buy, like, a $5 pair from a thrift store, like, wouldn't that be kind of weird on your foot?
Probably. Yeah.
'Cause,
I can imagine that. Like not one foot is the same.
yeah, it's like...
Like snowflakes.
Well,
But yeah,
we're gonna
I'm
get
sure
into
it was.
snowflake
yeah.
conversation now.
I'm sure, but I'm sure like if you were to get a thrift store pair of shoes, I'm sure the breaking in process wouldn't be as like painful as it is if you were getting them new.
Mm.
I got these boys for $50 from Kohl's, and currently there is a piece of the bottom somewhere in Myrtle Beach.
Huh.
So
Really?
that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's the other shoe. There's something off the very bottom here.
Oh wait. Oh yeah.
Came off.
The heel of it. Yeah.
Yep.
The heel's missing.
Ooh.
It doesn't feel different though. It was like a slight padding, so it's
Yeah.
whatever. But I like these. I wear size 12, and I'm like 5'10",
You know,
which is
yeah.
big old
odd.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have really long, really narrow feet. So it's like perfect for all shoes.
Mine are like they look normal at first, and then I step down, and then it like pancakes, and it like the width.
You have
it,
flat
like,
feet?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I mean, I have an arch. It's not a significant arch, but
Okay.
it's there.
There's something there.
Mhm.
Yeah. My Brooks over there. Shout out Brooks and shout out Columbus Running Company or whatever.
I love that place.
Front Runner.
Front Runner's amazing.
Front Runner on Lane Avenue. 'Cause Lane Road's different. They're a really good spot, and I got those shoes back in 8th grade, and they're still kicking. So they're running shoes, and they're size 11s, and they still fit me. It's great.
Yeah, I always get Reeboks because they're like wide enough, and they're European, so they fit well for my feet. I don't know why. But yeah, it's interesting. I always have trouble buying shorts because like
Really?
I have kind of large hips for my size.
Your hips don't lie.
My hips do not lie.
The truth.
But my feet are irregularly big for my legs and my body in general, so I never have trouble buying shoes. But it's kind of like the Hobbit type
Yeah.
wear with the Reeboks and everything.
I wore
Clown
Reeboks for
shoes.
a long time, but then I started going Vans, and I can't like. It has to be Vans or Converse for me, or like I've never owned a pair of Sperry's, but I would own Sperry's, like skater shoes mostly. I just for some reason the style I just really like a lot more. Like I don't think I'll ever go back to regular tennis shoes. I own one pair of regular tennis shoes because for like when I go running, that I'll wear like occasionally, but most of the time you'll see me wearing Vans or Converse. You won't really see me wearing anything else.
There's an interesting connection to feet for my next story, but I want to start it after the 30-minute mark. It entails my grandfather who had flat feet, and he got out of the draft because he had flat feet.
Really? Oh yeah.
But there's a connection to that I want to start after the break because it's kind of, it's an interesting one.
Gotcha.
So
Jake's war stories.
We're at the 29-minute mark. Do you want to go ahead and take our break now?
Let's go ahead and take a break.
Let's go ahead. Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and take that break, and then we'll see you guys in like 7 seconds.
Yeah. Cool. Hi, Corey here, telling you about our stuff. We have places too. I know we talk about Green Room a lot, but we have a Redbubble page where you can buy t-shirts, stickers, mugs, all that stuff. We unfortunately don't have street signs on there yet, we're working on it. But find us on Instagram. We have a subreddit, actually, we do. Find us on Twitter. We barely use it. And actually engage with us and send us messages, because we will read your messages on here and we will respond to questions. So go engage with us other than listening. It'd be cool. Hello.
We're back. It was like a minute for us and like a whole like 7 seconds to 10 seconds for you guys.
Something
Difficult.
like that, yeah.
Yep. Jake, you had a story about feet.
So, it was like the feet is like the segue.
Yeah.
But it's about my grandfather who had flat feet, and like I said, he got out of, I think, the Korean War because he had flat feet, and I think plantar's warts, which made it so it's really difficult to run. But he was an interesting man. He grew up as a New York Jew, and he did all the like the traditions and stuff. But he also grew up during the time where like things were changing, like in the 60s, you know, like the culture and stuff. Mm-hmm. So he had that one side of his brain that was like hardcore Jewish, and then that second half of his brain that was like the crazy kind of party guy. And he got around a lot. Let's just say that he was he got around a lot because, you know, America let him do that. And he at one point he had like orgies and stuff, like very soft orgies, and he would have like his what would be his wife at the time, his second wife, and he would say, no, you know, it's okay that they're there. We just have orgies. That's it. They have to live with us. It's okay. And he got prostate cancer as a result of this. No, not really, but he got prostate cancer.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an STD.
And and back then, when you had prostate cancer, they just went in and they chopped shit up. Like, that's what they did. They just chopped you up. Kind of like hibachi. That's what I'm imagining. Like, his ass.
Benny Hana'd his ass for having prostate cancer.
And he's like, dude, I can't fuck anymore. Like, this is not good. And they gave him a machine so he could pump up. So he could literally pump up his dick. Ugh. With a kind of
I remember this.
With like, you know those crank up TVs?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, I imagine.
God.
So he cranked up the entertainment.
Yeah, he cranked up the entertainment and he was like, no guys, I am good. And he continued on, and some time after that, it was probably not long of a time.
Wait, so before that would happen, would he be like, hey, hold on, and then he would just start,
actually, yes,
like turning it. Oh my god,
manual Viagra. I know. And at some point, the machine broke. So he used it so much. Presumably, I think he just said that. And one time he went to use it and just it popped. Not his thing, but the machine just kind of broke. And he was like, "Oh shit, there goes my life." And then he divorced his second wife, and that was it. So it was kind of that's who he was. Like, you can find the symbols in that, like the breaking in the machine, the cranking up, but you can inquire that yourself. That's who my grandfather was. That is in my genes.
This is a real man right here.
This is a real man. And
I don't know how to properly respond.
Well,
to that story.
you can't really. I mean, like, they Benny Honda his ass. Like, that's what I like. I'd like that, but some segue needs to be found off of that.
Where do we go from here?
Is that like the old equivalent of sex robots now?
I don't know.
Or it's like, oh, don't worry, I got the manual, and then you just, like, you kids don't know how to drive stick.
Yeah.
I drove my dick manual.
That's a Black Mirror episode. That's a Black Mirror episode.
Black Mirror episode.
Imagine gatekeeping, like, a dick machine. It's like, you boys don't know how to use a dick machine. You ain't doing it right. Yeah. Like, I literally fucked so much that I broke myself and I had to... It's like Deus Ex. It's a body modification.
Deus Ex?
Oh.
There you go.
I didn't ask for this. That's what Adam Jensen says in that game. I didn't ask for this.
I won't sit here and let you badmouth the greatest democracy that the world has ever seen.
Oh my god. I don't think we can tell a story to beat that. I don't know.
I don't think any story can be told to beat that.
No. Do you have anything? I can try and whip something up real quick.
Kind of. It's a hard cut. Like, you can't relate back to this. It relates absolutely nothing to the story.
All right, transition music. There we go.
That was a climax.
But you mentioned a Black Mirror episode, and so there are these Vine stars. Like, once Vine died, a bunch of these like guys and gals that got really famous on there jumped over to YouTube as their new platform. And for the most part, I find a lot of Vine stars that come from Vine to YouTube. I find a lot of their YouTube content to be very obnoxious. They seem like, and it all seems to follow the same formula. Yeah. And it's all kind of like, oh, my boyfriend is like cheating on me. Oh, let's like kind of play within like the realm of misogyny kind of thing. And it's all kind of going off the same thing with like, oh, now we're doing like, oh, here's superheroes as if they were like ghetto kind of thing.
Yeah. Smosh.
That's what I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they all collaborated with Netflix. At least a bunch of these. They collaborated with Netflix.
All of them. They all did.
Well, not all of them. There's like a group of them that have like done stuff together in the past. But they collaborated with Netflix to do this very like Black Mirror spinoff thing for YouTube. I think it was called Stories from Our Future, and there's like three episodes of it, and they're actually like really good.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's. Because, like, I'm used to seeing these like, Vine-turned YouTube stars and doing, like, music videos and just, like, kind of obnoxious skit comedy, but they've actually, like, this is, like, some, like, hardcore storytelling that is, like, really, like, it's one of the best things I've seen on YouTube in a while, if I'm being completely honest.
Is it like YouTube Red or anything? Or
no, it's just on paid? YouTube. Nope. It's like 3 like 12-minute episodes. There's one about like this guy, he's like feeling lonely and he's like kind of just like doing the same thing over and over again each day. And so we get to this robot, and as the robot like, follows this guy through his day, the more the robot, like, there's like a percentage that goes up that's like right on the back of his neck. Is like, okay, now he's like 1% human, now he's like 12% human, and like the more activities that he sees this guy go through, the more like human he becomes.
Yeah.
And so like he gets to, like, the robot gets to a point where like he orders himself a robot. And like, because the robot helped the original guy like find this girl, and so the guy isn't paying as much attention. He doesn't like need the robot as much anymore, but now the robot's feeling lonely, so he orders himself a robot. And like it's really interesting, and the visual effects in it and the sound design is really good.
It's kind of like Mr. Meeseeks getting a Mr. Meeseeks to help.
Kind of, yeah.
Morty's dad with his golf game. But the serious version.
Yeah. And there's one where it's like, it kind of plays on the whole like vaping thing. Like, there's this thing called Mist, and it like helps you with your anxiety. It helps you with your pain, and it like it plays like on a clever way of that, where it's like that, but then it like starts getting people really sick eventually. Like, it's something that everybody's doing. It kind of plays on the whole thing, like how in the real world everybody's really into vaping, but there's probably a lot more consequences to it than we think at the moment. Like, and we're starting to finally figure that out, is that like we thought vaping was like, oh, it's totally fine, but now people are starting to figure out, it's like, oh no, it's like almost as bad as cigarettes.
Yeah. I read a Reddit comment recently about a totally weird connection, but asbestos, and how like they didn't figure out that asbestos killed you after 40 years.
Yeah.
Until 40 years later. And the comment was from a guy who like works in asbestos and is like a like certified whatever. I don't know the title.
Expert.
Expert, yes. There's nothing, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. I'll give you that. And he was like, well, the way it works is asbestos breaks. Like, if you don't disturb it ever, it's fine. Like, if it just stays in place, it doesn't hurt you at all. But if, let's say you go up in your attic and there's asbestos in there and you like touch it, and then the dust comes out of it. The dust is like atomically small,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets in your lungs, and after 40 years it causes problems. It's like you breathe that stuff in. So I'm imagining that there's probably something similar where it comes back to you much later once something like asbestos happens with the vape juice or whatever. But
And also just the immediate addiction to nicotine as well. But are there, maybe I haven't been paying attention as much, but are there people like in mainstream media or in just the culture that vape, like kind of how like cigarettes were seen as
Ethan Klein.
Like
From history. I have a
would be
Vape
one.
Nation t-shirt.
Yeah.
I do. I rep it. But
Is like, do you think juuling is like as big culturally as cigarettes once were?
maybe not in what I watch.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there has to be for it to be such a big thing. But
I know a lot of people that use Juuls,
but they're not in the cultural spotlight.
Yeah. Because you like in movies and all the time, you used to see like people smoking all the time.
Yeah.
You don't really see that anymore, and we haven't really transitioned to like more people vaping in movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's nearly as like there's not as like a heavy of a cultural grasp on vaping as there was for cigarettes. But like then again, cigarettes have been around like that. They were around and being smoked and being used a lot longer than vaping was really been
definitely.
big. I mean, like vaping's been around for a while, but I don't know. It's like not nearly as long as cigarettes have been around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I feel like tobacco companies like had a lot of product placement.
yeah.
in movies
Oh yeah.
back then.
Like that and just advertising in general. They were like everywhere you would see like there would be TV spots for cigarettes, which they're not allowed to have anymore because the government was like, oh wait, this is killing people.
Yeah.
And like vaping is like we're finally like people have like suspected that vaping or people were saying that vaping was bad from the get-go, and it's showing to be right. Like like I'm sure it's
Sponsored by the Green Room.
yeah. I mean but yeah, it's
You got to talk about it. Something you have to bring up nowadays.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I'm sure. At least from what we know, from what I can tell right now, I don't think it's as bad as cigarettes, but I don't think it's much better.
No.
I can't. Yeah.
It's like a McDonald's salad versus a McDonald's burger. It's just as bad.
Yeah. It has
They pump it with chemicals.
They
dude.
have the same amount of calories like those chicken salads as like in comparison with like the Big Macs, but like you think there is more nutritional value, but there's not really. It's kind of like that, like Jewel versus Big Mac.
Can we get a Big Mac Jewel Pod flavor? Let's do that.
Big Mac sauce.
Big Mac sauce.
Big Mac sauce.
Burger sauce.
I've never had a Big Mac.
Me neither.
I had one once, and I did leaves for my aunt and uncle, and they were like, "Hey, do you want Sammy?"
You did leaves.
I like raked.
You smoked
leaves.
leave.
I did leave.
You hit the hippie lettuce.
Oh no!
Doing the devil's lettuce. That's what my dad always used to call it.
Yeah.
He's like, "You've been hitting the hippie lettuce."
I'm trying to think of something with arugula, but it's not working. But he was all like, "Do you want a Sammy?" And I was like, "I'll have a Sammy." And he went out, and I thought he was going to get me like a club sandwich or something, like just a Sammy.
Yeah.
But he got me an American sandwich. He got me a Big Mac, and I ate that shit, and I felt horrible for like hours.
I might have to pick up McDonald's on my way home now.
After I said you feel like shit for hours.
It's the trade-off.
I'll eat McDonald's.
It felt so bad. I took a bite. I immediately felt fatigued after that first bite, and I was like, "Oh boy, I'm tired now." And then I finished it, and I was like, "I don't know why I continued doing that," but I was hungry. No, they're from Burger King.
So it wasn't
The Whopper?
No, it was a Whopper, so I have never had a Big Mac. God damn. Okay, I told a false story.
You just
Whoppers make you feel like
you just
shit.
had a big old smooth brain moment right there.
Well, I don't eat fast food, so I don't like everything's a Big Mac from fast food for me.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if I get burger and then they bring me a burger, I'm like, it's probably Big Mac, and then
there's a difference.
It's kind of like I'm like a fast food racist. Like everything is a Big Mac.
Fast foodist.
Yeah.
Foodist. I don't know where I was going with that joke.
It's kind of similar to the Juul thing. You know, like I think a precursor to Juul culture was like
vape mods.
Well, vape mods and you know those scented markers, Sharpies, not Suberment, rubber cement. A thing back in high school. I can actually say back in high school now.
Yeah,
but when I was in photography class, we couldn't use glue to, glue the photos to the journal, so we had to use rubber cement. And I had to put 30 photos into my journal, and you have to use. So I was using rubber cement, cementing them down. And every time I successfully did a photo, I'd take a small sniff of the rubber cement, just kind of as like a gift. And it wasn't. It was not out of curiosity. It really wasn't. I knew what it smelled like, and I liked it. Because I'm the type of person who, I like the smell of gasoline. I like rubber cement. I like Sharpies.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Like, when I'm at the gas station, a little bit of gasoline comes out onto the ground, I'm kind of like,
you lick it up.
Like...
Can't waste a drop.
So, let me take a whiff of rubber cement instead of let me take a hit of your Juul. That's what I think.
I just realized a connection.
I'm just seeing anti-vaping ads, but it's like sniff glue instead. Don't Juul.
I think you know how kids ruined Minecraft first, and then they went to Fortnite and ruined the already ruined game, and now Minecraft is cool again.
Yeah,
vape mods are cool again because the kids took over Juul.
I don't think so. I don't think the same logic can apply to
I think
potentially cancerous.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the part that's cool.
The cancer's not cool.
Yeah, I think
the vape clouds come sooner. The cancer comes later.
But seeing a guy with a mod versus a Juul, like I see a Juul and I'm like, you're probably a dipshit. And then I see a guy with a mod. It's like this huge ass mod. And I'm like, you probably spent a lot of money on that, and you're probably like quitting smoking from it. And I have a little more respect for that.
I think more people use Juuls to quit smoking than they do mods. I think mods are for more enthusiast vapors, and Juuls are more for people trying to get off smoking.
Juuls have shit tons of nicotine in them compared to mods.
Yeah, but supposedly what is contained within a Juul is not nearly as bad as the 7,000 plus chemicals that are put into the average cigarette.
Well, yeah. But then vape mods are less bad compared to Juuls.
In terms of nicotine content, yes, because nicotine is like a set, and a Juul is like a set amount, which is like the combined thing of like a pack of cigarettes. But people aren't trying to get off of smoking because of the nicotine addiction. I think in the most part, I think they're trying to get off of smoking because they realize that it's turning it's literally like coating their lungs with tar.
Yeah.
I don't think they care so much for the fact that they have an addiction to it, because nowadays it's kind of like, if you have a Juul, you can rip that inside and the vapor dissipates. Unlike cigarette smoke, where like that shit will stick around for like the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
And for like vape mods, you can have no nicotine, or you can have like as much nicotine as a Juul.
Yeah.
It all kind of depends on like
more choice.
Yeah, with mods you have more of a choice. But yeah, I think like I said, I think mods are for more. I'm sure people use mods to get off of cigarettes, but I think that's what Juuls are used more for. I think mods, at least from what I can tell, and people that I know that use mods versus people I know that use Juuls, I think, like I said, mods are more for enthusiasts.
Gotcha.
Because there is like a culture behind vaping.
Yeah. Can't be a poser.
So
can't be a fake vapist.
And I understand the formality of vaping, because I've had those I think I've talked about it before. Those like caffeine and melatonin inhaler vape
Yeah.
pens that I
Yeah.
have, I understand the formality of like hitting it, just for the sake of doing it.
Mm.
Like there's a formality, like when Sam said how he had that cigarette in his hand for, like, even though he didn't smoke it, he just had it in his hand for the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a formality of having something for your hands and your mouth to do. Which is the whole thing. Like if you ever watch the Fast and Furious movies, the character Han, you always see him eating something, and they make a reference to this in Fast and the Furious 6. It's like it's his way of quitting smoking, because it's the human mind constantly feeling like you need to have your hands in your mouth doing something, which is why so many people went into smoking, because it gives both something to do. Same thing with vaping, same thing with binge eating. It's like a nervous thing that you constantly feel like you need your hands and mouth to do something.
It also makes sense why people would prefer like the Nicorette gum to the patches.
Yeah.
Like I don't see patches seem like a very medical like way of getting off nicotine, because like you said, it's part of like I want to be either chewing gum. It's like it's the soothing of like the habit.
I heard with nicotine gum, you kind of have to like spit the juice out like you did like if you were like doing chewing tobacco, because that shit can like burn up your insides and like make you sick.
Yeah.
I don't know how that. That's just
Gum
what
disease,
that's from.
Maybe?
It's from like one like a family friend or something told me about it, but like you have to like he had to like spit out the juice or else it would make him sick.
I have a coworker offer me dip like every shift.
My brother,
as a joke.
My brother does dip, and it's great. Like he'll take like a big old fucking chunk and just put it.
Yeah.
And like he went to the dentist and he was like, "You keep it on that side, don't you?" And the dentist didn't even know like at first, but like you can tell because it'll like start to turn your gums. It'll like darken the color of your gums. Like you can clearly tell.
What does it do? Does that give you a buzz? Like what is that?
There is nicotine. It's like it's basically like.
What does nicotine do? Like what is that? What feeling do you get from
Isn't
it?
it like-
It's a depressant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an addictive depressant. It's what gives you the slight buzz when you vape or when you smoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a depressant. That's
my
sounds like what depressants do.
Grandfather, he smoked for like 30 years. And he had like anxiety problems. So whenever he smoked, he was able to go do something that would give him anxiety. So that's part of the reason why he would do it, because it would be like, I don't care, like I'm sedated a little bit, and that's part of the allure. I guess.
Kind of like courage juice, liquid courage,
a little bit.
alcohol.
Yes, but it's like,
But kind of
except it's killing you
Yeah.
right.
in
Exactly.
the long run. Yeah.
Well, both are, but I mean,
Yeah.
to a lesser degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also do have a Ko-fi page, so if you go to www.ko-fi.com/GabStreetPodcast, there you can give us a tip of $3 or $6, $9. It's all in increments of 3. It's because you're buying us a coffee. Ha! So if you really like what we do and you support us buying new stuff that makes our production a lot better and bringing new guests on and stuff like that, please consider doing a Ko-fi donation. That would be awesome.
But yeah, that was probably the deepest conversation we've had on this show.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like the most serious conversation we've had on the show.
Let's do 180. Let's talk about our old LAN parties.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of those back in
I
the day.
used to live right down the street from where we are now, undisclosed location, and I since have not lived in that house anymore. But
Oh wow, really?
What?
Oh really? You used to live in the house and you no longer live in that house?
I no longer live in that house. Yes, it's not there anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not there.
The place is there,
It
but
disappeared, just evaporated.
basically, yeah. We left. It wasn't important anymore, so we left. But I used to have the boys come over, and it was the original reason why it was called the outage couch was a giant gray couch. We ended up having to get rid of it because it was super old and it was falling apart. So, but I would have like 5 or 6 dudes come over, and my mom always told me she couldn't hear shit, so it worked out. We could be loud if we wanted to. And I had my big old TV, and I would hook it up to my laptop, and we would play LAN games. Like, Well, we play Lancelot, Duck Game. What else? Gang Beasts is a good one.
The
Nidhogg.
the America.
Jousting.
Genital Jousting.
It's Devolver, the America shoot 'em up game.
Broforce.
Broforce, yeah.
Yeah.
That was how I met
Linus.
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy?
Yeah, that's how I met our buddy Jimmy, was through that. I thought he was a year above us when I first met him, because it was like
really?
naturally just kind of
Yeah.
like, seemed like a bigger and more mature
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
So I thought he was older, but no, he's
Yeah.
in the same grade as us. Love that man.
Did you know Linus before those? Or did...
I knew of Linus because we went to middle school with him.
Right.
And then we were in the same English class junior year, so I kind of met him through that. And then you invited him over one night. I think this was the night that you had just gotten your new futon at your mom's place.
Yeah.
And we assembled that. I think that was also...
Yeah, we like made it in front of everybody.
There was a lot that happened that night.
That was Catharsis.
That was... Wait, no, I think that was a...
That was a different night.
That was a different night. The night I'm thinking of is the night when we shot Game Makers and Working Title on the same day. I think this was the following week or something. But you invited him over, and that's how Linus and I became like. Well, we like knew each other from class, but like we became friends through
Can we talk about
parties.
Catharsis? Is that okay?
Catharsis.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before.
I don't know. I don't remember if we have or not.
The Catharsis. We did a photo shoot for a project that a friend of ours did a while ago, and it was like this little panel thing where it was me. He would take pictures of me, and each picture that he took, I progressively looked like I had gotten the shit kicked out of me even more. So at first it started off normal, then he would add a little bit of like fake blood, and like we'd like tear a piece of this shirt, and then just progressively make myself look worse. And he's like, I want this to look like the poster for American Psycho with Patrick Bateman just kind of like looking like he's screaming covered in blood. And I was like, if you want me to like properly, express this emotion for these photos, the best thing to do would be to like for me to actually have a panic attack. And so what I did is like, all right, guys, just start screaming this, that, and the other at me. Like different topics that at the time I was like going through some shit. So I was like, just like keep bringing it up and like yelling it at me and shit just to overwhelm me. And so that's what happened. And this was at my discretion. Like I told them to do this.
Yeah, I always felt kind of bad.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
So we did that, and I just kind of like broke down crying. And I don't blame you guys at all for this because I told you to do this, and the pictures turned out fucking amazing.
Yeah.
If you look at my photography Instagram account, I've taken some of those photos and edited them together so it kind of looks like I'm like forming and like I'm morphing a little bit.
Yeah.
And it looks really fucking cool. I don't regret it whatsoever. Yeah. But I kind of felt bad for you guys because I could tell like Sam and Linus had to like leave for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They like went to go get
Snacks,
like snacks and drinks for a bit. And like Linus was like, I need to get out of here for a minute. I can't believe we just did that. Like I felt bad for you guys because I could clearly tell that you guys were uncomfortable after seeing me like that.
I was psyched out. I was like, I wasn't uncomfortable. I was just like, this is fucking crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I thought. But what I always, this was mentioned to other close friends, the reaction was kind of like why the fuck would you guys do that to him? And it was always a thing where it didn't bring us apart at all.
Yeah.
And in a way, it kind of brought us together in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've just always wondered if any other friend group could do that. Like, could it happen with other guys? Could happen in groups of girls?
Yeah.
Is it considered, or is that just how we are as people? Like, I've always thought about whether, like, how much, like, did
You gotta
us
suffer for your
individually.
art.
Yeah.
That's the
Basically.
way it is.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've told this story before and people are just kind of like, why the fuck would you do that? And I was like,
Look at the pictures.
Look at the pictures.
They're so good.
It looks so good. I don't regret that. I just like, I mean, everything was fine if you just gave me like, once it was done, like it took me a minute. Like I went in, I took a shower to get all the makeup off, and after about 10 minutes I was fine.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it is when I have a breakdown. Like once like I start to have a meltdown, if you just give me like a little bit of time to just kind of like collect myself, I'll be like totally fine afterwards.
It was legit catharsis.
It was
that's how it worked.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's what we refer to as catharsis, and we make jokes about it here and there, and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's
Do we have what are the other catharsis? Again, is
Um,
there anything we can talk about? Because I feel like
I don't think so.
nothing that
We've
is
had
like
other ones in our friend group, but I
disclosure.
don't think it's like really
Yeah.
fucking deep, and I don't think, and it's
Fair
like with
enough.
other people that aren't here.
okay, gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah, we won't worry about
Yeah.
that.
I don't know if you guys have any other things related or something else.
No, I don't think so. I just want to bring up I shit you not real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
How at one of the LAN parties, these would happen most weekends,
Yeah.
sophomore year, and it was how we became friends, really.
Mm-hmm.
Where the first time you came over, I was like, hey Gage, I got this little bottle that I filled with Diablo sauce,
Yeah.
and I dare you to drink it. And you are all like, dude, I fucking do dares.
Fucking
like,
bet.
You think I
Yeah.
won't?
Yeah.
And you chugged a bottle of Diablo sauce.
Mm-hmm. Like a full, like, well, it was like, it's not like a bottle, but
It was like a
it's like a little
keychain
keychain
thing.
Oh, okay.
sriracha bottle that you filled with Diablo sauce from Taco Bell.
And then
And I
you went
just-
to the bathroom and sat by the toilet for a while.
I could not get myself to puke. I was dry heaving like a motherfucker, and the thing is, like, all I had to drink was my like 16-ounce Red Bull,
Yeah.
and like you
Yeah,
had
we drank
some.
a lot of caffeine there.
And you
Yeah.
had you had milk, but like you only had like a little bit, and I didn't want to be that asshole that drank like all your milk, so I was like, fuck. So I just like chugging my Red Bull, but it just made it worse. Eventually the spice dissipated, but yeah. And then there was another time we went to Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
And it was
The Peppers?
Yeah, it was, I think it was I was with Cory and Linus,
Yeah.
and it was one of you guys were like, Gage, oh no, it wasn't you. It was our classmate Peyton who was sitting in with her friends in the booth next to us and just happened to walk in, and she like looked over at me and she's like, "Hey Gage, how much for you to eat one of these peppers?" And I was like, "Linus, pass me the bottle," and he slides it over to me. I take it and I'd like pop like 2, and she's like, "Okay." I was like, "I don't give a fuck." Like,
Dare this man to do anything.
almost anything.
And-
Especially with spicy stuff. Like you
Yeah.
are you ate all those habanero rings, I remember.
Yeah, like Guacho
It was-
habanero rings.
It wasn't even like a dare. It was just kind of like, this is what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
spicy stuff I can, like, I don't feel it in my stomach. I feel it just all like in here. Like it doesn't like upset my spicy stuff doesn't really upset my stomach at all.
Those habanero rings kill, dude. The
They're not-
Guachos ones.
Not, I think the worst that I've had was the nuclear wings at Roosters.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, say nuclear one more time.
Nuclear.
There you go.
What did I say?
Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine. Nuclear. I hear a lot of people
Well,
say that.
Roosters, it's nuclear.
Nuclear.
Oh, is it really?
Nuclear.
What did I say before?
You said nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yeah. I'm being an asshole.
Nuclear.
Yeah, nuclear.
Oh, nuclear.
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm just gonna be that guy
Oh,
today.
Those
sorry.
nuclear, whatever.
nuclear wing.
Those-
nuclear wings.
Those wings made me like vibrate. Like nothing.
Oh my god,
I
that
was
hit
vibrating.
you hard. You
But
were like fucking like shaking.
It was not hurting my mouth. It was just vibrating because I was eating them and I was doing some repetitive motion with my mouth, like just chewing them up, and my face just started vibrating, and those didn't upset my stomach.
Yeah.
Like usually, like spicy stuff does, but those were some crazy stuff. Good though, I would recommend if you like spicy
pretty
food.
good.
Cool.
All right.
Is
Unless
it about
anybody,
time?
I think unless anybody has some last minute things that they want to
Yeah.
bring up, I think that's about time to wrap up.
The only time I ever use social media is if something that other people should care about is going on. I don't post about personal stuff other than like giant life
Yeah.
events,
Mhm.
like graduation and building
Yeah.
and welding a table for the first time. But
Yeah.
like, other than that, like I had soup this morning. Like I don't care. I don't want to see that shit. I think social media oversharing is I sound like an old coot, but I think it's getting out of hand.
That's why I like podcasts, because they're like a form of social media, but like people want to hear just either reasonable discussion or just shooting the shit like people actually do in real life.
Yeah.
Like Twitter does. I like the quips on Twitter sometimes, but like that's not how people actually are.
Yeah.
But podcasts and stuff like that. That's why I appreciate them.
Nice.
Actual stuff.
So that's Cory's hot take.
Corey's hot take for the day.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's about it's time to wrap up.
Oh, we did it.
It is about
Outage couch reference.
time.
All right. Remember, kids, school is whack. Go smoke crack.
I approve of that.